This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, Heather, ho there. It's Jeff Coder Diamond. Welcome you to the Sports Catastrophe on this day. Yeah, finally got it on this day that I haven't done yet. But anyway, it's August 5th, 2016 when the Olympics finally end. It's a great time to, no, a great time to start. What am I thinking? The Olympics begin on this day, August the 5th, 2016. And it was huge. There would be 11,000 plus athletes from 207 nations as Kosovo, South Sudan, and the refugee Olympic team would make their debuts. It featured 28 Olympic sports and a lot of venues. So Rio was lucky to have the Olympics. These were the first Olympics in South America. Surprised they never got a Summer Olympics. This was the first to be in a Portuguese-speaking country, the first summer edition to be held entirely in the host country's winter season because Rio is south of the equator. Now, a lot of people would be thinking, didn't Australia have the Olympics? Yeah, they did, but it wasn't in the full winter season. All that parts of the 2000 games were held in September, but it would be like March in their season. This was the first time since 1968 that Latin America would host the Olympics, and the first since 2000 to be in the Southern Hemisphere. So anyway, the Americans would win the medal table. Surprise, surprise. Britain took second place in the medal table. China third. Brazil would win 19 medals and 7 golds, their best finish ever. The countries of Bahrain, Fiji, Ivory Coast, Jordan, Kosovo, Puerto Rico, Singapore, Tajikistan, and Vietnam would all win their first gold medals. So the 2016 Summer Olympics were bid for many teams. There were four candidates for the short list: Chicago, Madrid, Rio, and Tokyo. So, anyway, there were rumors circulating that Doha and Qatar were going to have a chance to host the games. They had more technical score than Rio de Janeiro. But because Doha wanted it in October and it would interfere with the IOC sporting calendar, they said no. So, anyway, there were a lot of safeguards and all that. So, Rio, Madrid, Tokyo, and Chicago were be bidding. Chicago went out after the first round as they were the lowest number of votes. Round 2 saw Tokyo go out in voting, so it was down to Rio and Madrid. It was down to Brazil versus Spain, two superpowers, a Spanish-speaking land and a Portuguese land. And yes, I did confuse myself thinking Brazil spoke Spanish for the longest time. And in a 66-32 vote, Rio took care of Madrid. The good news for Tokyo was that they would get the 2020 Summer Olympics. So, anyway, they would have to do some infrastructure on Rio. Of course, Rio needed to do a lot of things and all that, and put sustainability. Of course, Brazil was 2 years away. Well, when they hosted in 2016, they were 2 years so removed from the World Cup being at their land, and Brazil celebrating, hoping that a gold medal or a championship would be held in Brazil. Unfortunately, that dream was squashed in that famous semifinal loss to Germany 7-1. Brazil would go on to lose third place to the Dutch. So, completely with the fact that Brazil didn't do well in their home World Cup, and coupled with the fact that infrastructure was not that good, people thought Brazil was going to be in for trouble. So, anyway, yeah, the opening ceremony took place at the famous Maracana Stadium on this day, August the 5th. It had Brazilian history and culture. So, anyway, the Olympic cauldron was lit by Vanderlei de Lima, the middle distance runner who actually was in the marathon and got pulled off the side road by that defrocked Irish priest and lost the gold medal. So anyway, they wanted 2 new sports to be introduced to the Olympic program. All that. So rugby sevens and golf will be added to Rio 2016. So rugby sevens. It was the first time that a version of rugby would be in the Olympics since 1924, and the first time since 1904 that golf would be at the Olympics. So baseball, softball, which was dropped in 2005, could not come back. So anyway, 205 Olympic communities qualify at least one athlete. All that. So it was massive and all that. Kosovo and South Sudan were eligible to participate. Bulgaria and Russia had their own problems, with weightlifters being banned from Rio for numerous anti-doping violations. Of course, this would be kind of the last major Olympics Russia would be part of, with the fact that their doping stuff was exposed and the Russian flag and Russia as a whole would not be in the Olympics since 2016. They would be the Olympic athletes from Russia, or if you will. Yeah, so Canada sent over 300 athletes. There would be refugee athletes. Well, due to the European migrant crisis and other reasons, there would be 10 refugees that would be put in, and one of them won a bronze in shooting, I believe. First, in November 2015, Russia was suspended from all track and field athletic competitions because of the doping situations. It would allow individual Russian athletes to compete as neutrals and all that. But the IOC rejected it, saying that, can't really see it. Russian athletes competed under the Russian flag, although there would be a neutral flag in 2018. So anyway, there would be a lot of records and all of that. There'd be a lot of events that would actually start at as late as 10 p.m. British time because of the whole NBC thing. NBC had influenced discussion and practice just because of their rights holding and all of that. Many marquee events were scheduled later. Well, Brasilia time was an hour later than Eastern time, so it wasn't so bad. Anyway, yeah, the closing ceremony happened, and then they held the Olympic flag to Tokyo. The cost would be about $4.6 billion, but that actually was not that bad compared to Beijing paying up to $44 billion for the 2008 Olympics and Sochi for 2014 Winter Games and $51 billion. It wasn't as bad as it was. So, yeah, they didn't have to give that much. Of course, the Americans won 46 gold medals, Britain 27, China 26. Canada won 4 gold, 3 silver, and a lot of bronze, 15 bronzes. Canada unofficially took 10th in the medal pool behind US, China, Britain, Russia, Germany, France, Japan, Australia, and Italia. So not bad. Canada got a top 10 position. That was pretty impressive. Broadcasting, CBC hosting it for Canada and all that. So yeah, there'd be marketing. Vincius, mascot of Rio 2016, a cat-like figure, and all that. There were some concerns. Brazil having a political and economic crisis, which the interim president of Brazil had to deal with, and all that, saying it could be all that. Dilma Rousseff, the president, was actually stripped of her powers for 180 days back in May 2016, before the Olympics started, and all that. So that was huge, and all that. There would be money laundering. However, a couple of people's convictions in a real case was overturned by the court. This was also 2015-16 when Zika virus hit the world and all that. So anyway, they would have to have daily inspections of Olympic venues and preventing mosquitoes from coming on and all that, because babies were born with weird heads and all that. Fortunately, though, despite some athletes not attending the games because of the epidemic, there was no cases of Zika at the Olympics. Covers the environment with the sewage problems, security, crime being big in Brazil, of course. Russian doping scandal. Those pesky Russians. Always up to no good. But the fact of the matter is, Rio was a decent Olympics and all that. Brazil was economically in trouble, and I can understand that. But at least they had a decent Olympics, and Tokyo did get their time to shine 4 years later. So I fight it. Anyhow, I'm Jeff. I'm gonna do.